so much for joining me today, Xiyao. We're at Social Media Summit. You speak every year, right?
Since last year, so 2 years in
Okay, well, then I saw you there last year, whatever. And you spoke about data visuals. I heard great things about that session. I would love, but I didn't get to go. So I'd love to give us like the Spark Notes, the overview for anyone that wasn't able to make the conference. Yeah. What are some of the key things that you talked about yesterday?
Of course. So basically, the whole session was designed to the audience to see what data can do visually. Because in this multifamily industry, and then I feel like we're very busy, and then usually like we work on the spreadsheets, we work on the vendors report. So there is not a lot of chance like for the in-house analysts like really kind of sit down, digest the data, and then kind of present it. So this is the session trying to just like say, data is not scary and data is not boring. And then we can actually turn data into stories. So the session started with some very fun examples of the data visualization and then trying to get the audience engaged. And then we're talking about what's the kind of like the rules and principles of working on the data visualization project. Think about data visualization is not like something very like deep or have to process a big like data lake. It's more just like if we have a simple spreadsheet, how can we turn to a chart that captures audiences? So a few principles, for example, you should guide the focus point and then trying to be simple. And then it will be compromised, but it's okay. And then adding on different variables and then show the relationships. And then I think at the end, the session kind of like going towards into, let's not just looking at the data itself, let's tell the story. That's what we are trying to convey and our audience about what's the point that we're trying to make. And then, I think we ended the session with some data fallacies of the mistake trying to avoid when you're looking at data. So that's the whole quick walkthrough of the session.
You're like a marketer for data, like making it cool. You know what I forgot to have you say is, so everybody knows why you're so good at this, what you do for a living. So Xiyao, can you tell us what your role is and what company you work for?
Of course. So my name is Xiyao, and then I work for Bozzuto. It's been 8 years, and I'm a director of marketing intelligence. So it's a team of marketing analysts, marketing technologists, as well as our marketing kind of operationists, and then it's a combination function of everything that tied to how be smart in marketing.
Oh, I love that. You know, one of my personal goals as a marketer is to be a more data focused marketer. I am such a creative. I'm just like, my gut tells me this will be good. And so I'm really focusing more on taking a step back and seeing like what's actually working and not making too many assumptions about what to do things. So we are the opposites. So hopefully in this conversation, bring all that data intelligence onto me.
I think that the beauty of this world is we have all diverse people. Like you think creatively, I think in a data world, and then when we combine and then we tell the story using data.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I actually got a chance to talk to Daniel yesterday, and we talked about data as well. He was talking about kind of like it's a critical time for Bozzuto getting all of the data together from the different places, because data is what informs AI.
Yeah.
So you've been working with data and telling the story for a long time, but what are you doing today that's a little different than you were before with AI in mind?
Yeah. So that's a very good question. I think me and Daniel on the same team. He's my direct boss. And then, so kind of like just to build on what his point was, so right now, AI is such a big component of our everyday life. We just finished a session with Dale that talked about how do we really using AI to accelerate our work process, etc. And then for us, I think our biggest goal at this point is how do we really using the technology and AI functions to kind of help our renter go through the journey. Of course, see the brand differently, and then using data to kind of like allow them to really stay with the brand. So I think it's one thing that, for example, a big project that currently working on, it's been a couple of years, is building our customer data platform. So that was pretty much, I think it was before AI kind of like popped in the past a few years. Customer data platform was like one concept that the company is trying to achieve is how do we build a centralized data warehouse and then focus on customer. And then using customers' information and then really help the customer to make the decision faster because every time if you come into the website and you did your research and then we don't want to like for example next time you come we don't want you to go through the whole process again or if you already done your research you already talked to our leasing agent and then when you're coming in we should have all this information available so you can make your next move rather than we ask the same question over and over. So just really trying to kind of like using those data and then feeding to our machine to making sure that we'll be able to really allow our customer and our residents to move on to the next step and then getting all the information all at once.
Yeah, as customers, we're used to that kind of experience, like shopping wise, online shopping. Yeah, I mean, the abandoned cart reminders, the like checking me on the exact journey based on what my likes are. It's not a new concept, but it's not an easy concept because our industry is like digital, but it's physical in a way that those e-commerce companies like. It's just all digital and then you ship it and it's done. And it's like, so it feels like such a more straightforward thing to do. So it's so interesting and exciting to see us marrying, and like, because there's so much human in this industry and we want it to be, we want the human interaction. It's so important. It's such a big decision. You're not buying like those cute shoes online. Like you want to, as a consumer wants to have that human interaction, but as a person in data, there are things that happen that you can't track. And how do you what happens then?
Yeah. So that is exactly, I think you kind of like pointed out a very good point in terms of multifamily. Like we are the business of people. Mm-hmm. We're trying to build that human to human connection. We want you to come to see the property, see the unit, see the amenity, and then everything. But I think let's think about this way it is, how can we bring this experience much better, much more tailored? So for example, like when Sydney showed up in the property, they know, hey, Sydney, what about your dog? Hey, I know you like food. This is the restaurant. I know you like shopping. We have our local vendor right here. So at this point, I think it's just like, we're still in that process that we're waiting people to show up at the door and then let me know you when you show up at the door. But with our customer data platform and then with all of the information that we call it the zero party data, not even first party data, zero party data.
It's all yours.
Yeah. It's all ours, and not just like ours, but also those are the information that our customer has already given us without telling us. So we're collecting all of the data. So next time when you showed up at the door, we already know you have a fur baby. We already know you like certain things, and then we can tailor that whole experience and bring this whole experience into a different level. So that's what it's like. Let's make human to human experience much better. Yeah. It's definitely not try to eliminate that human to human experience, but let's tailor it.
Something that I'm really impressed with, one thing that I'm really impressed with what your team is doing at Pizzuto is you are building, and you have been for a long time, you're building a corporate brand that for your renters, where you're not each property doesn't live in a silo. If they go to property in Atlanta and that property knows that they have a dog and they like restaurants, it sounds to me like if they were to move across the country to LA, why couldn't that leasing agent be like, oh, how's your dog? I mean, I don't know if that's creepy, but like they're making it so like they're part of something. And so when they move from place to place, they don't have to like do the whole spiel again. And you are in the same way that like, I don't know, if I walk into a Marriott or if I walk into a Kimpton, like, oh, Miss Weber, like, thank you for staying with us again. Like it's been, how long? It's been a couple months since we've seen you, like that sort of thing. It feels like I'm a celebrity.
You're in a celebrity, you're in an elite club, and then you're expecting exactly the same service experience as you in the previous Marriott and previous brand. Yeah. That's what Pizzuto is trying, is to create that centralized branding experience. That's how we kind of really committed to invest on our brand. So I remember our CEO, Julie Smith, mentioned that Pizzuto is the Gore-Tex of your rain jacket. You can have your jacket in every different brand, but if you know the Gore-Tex there, you know it's going to be waterproof, and you know it's a great brand. So that's what we're trying to achieve.
I love that.
Just smart and great and
Good motivator of the team. Yeah.
great motivator of the team. So that's when I heard it, I was like, yes, that's a great line using it.
Yeah, that you should. What advice do you have for other marketers who, I don't want to say are afraid of data, but maybe don't really know how to take a spreadsheet and turn it into a story?
Yeah. So I would definitely first piece of advice is Google it.
That's how I've done everything in my life. Yes.
But yeah, I think that's kind of like one all the way back. And then there's a few books and there are a few tutorials. And then of course, it just like sit down with a colleague who have that experience. So like one thing that we do within our team is we occasionally will have a lunch and learn session. So like, let's put all the great minds together because when some colleagues say, I don't feel very comfortable with the spreadsheet, and maybe can you kind of just quickly walk me through? This is the endpoint we're trying to achieve. So we can kind of run a few very quick tips. Like, for example, should we do a pivot table? Should we do a VLOOKUP and then just do a lookup table? And then do we just like do a quick summary and then have a few formula to kind of write it? That is something I think that's very helpful because those kind of like, learning with the peers, that culture, if you cultivate that culture, it's not just like me showing somebody else about how to use data, but it's actually the other way around is someone else showed me how to actually be a great designer. So then we can work together, build something stronger. So, so I would say definitely, not afraid of ask, and then follow a few tutorials and then kind of read a few books. There's like really kind of like really good materials that are online in the forum, and it's great for for the young. I would say like the marketers who want to try and get into more data oriented methods or strategy. Yeah.
One thing that I like live by as in my career as a marketer and beyond is make sure I'm always uncomfortable. Like I have to be uncomfortable in most situations because that means I'm learning and growing. And it's, I mean, sometimes it can be like scary,
But
looking at a wall of data, trying to make something out of it.
but once you overcome it, you're like, wow. And you look back, it's such a wonderful experience. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today.
Pleasure
What a great
so much.
conversation.
Same. It was always I've been following you, and I know it's like since AIM like probably 2-3 years ago, and we met. I was like, this is a wonderful experience to be sit down and actually had a chat with you.
I know. I mean, we've just in passing, so we should do this more often.
Of course.
Maybe we do like a, I don't know, left brain, right brain sort of experience. Yeah.
Oh my God. Thank you so much.
Thank you.